Hello and welcome to this week's Glasstire Top 5. It is the week of December 19th, 2019. I'm Christina Rees.
And I'm Brandon Zech.
And we are counting down the top 5 art events in Texas this week.
I know someone is going to ask again this week. The painting we're standing in front of is by Harvey Bott, who's a Houston artist. So we had someone ask last week, but Harvey Bott.
So number 5 on our list is an artist named Ruth A Kite. This is at AO5 Gallery in Austin. I have actually juried her into a couple of group shows in the last 2 years. It's collage. These are nice little tidy collages, and she uses envelopes as sort of architectural elements, basically to represent portals, windows, and doors in these collages. They're super appealing. When I recognized it on the listing, I was like, I've juried her into some shows. She's had some solo shows recently. She lives in the Rio Grande Valley. I recommend this, and it is up through only December 22nd. So if you don't catch it this weekend, you're not going to catch it.
Number 4 this week is the AMOA, the Amarillo Museum of Art, Biennial 600 Textile and Fiber. So this is a biennial, obviously, but it's a biennial that kind of changes theme every year. So it's the 600 around it means that it's within a 600-mile radius of Amarillo. And past years have been, drawing, clay, glass, figure painting, print, sculpture, architecture. This is the 8th biennial, and it's just a bunch of fiber and textile works. In this building, we've both been to this building.
I love this building.
And I can just picture all of these pieces installed and it really working.
It's a great old brutalist building. It's beautiful, actually. And I think the rooms are nice for art. I mean, themed shows, I think, do well in this space. And they usually have hundreds of entries for this, so I'm sure they've been able to call it down to a really nice show.
Go see it. And it is actually closing this weekend also. It opened in October, but it's closing on the 22nd. So this is your last chance.
Number 3 on our list is Jennifer Ling at Ruiz Healy in San Antonio. She's a San Antonio-based artist. She's got a solo show at Ruiz Healy's space in San Antonio, as well as a solo show right now at Ruiz Healy's new space in New York City. This one is called Don't Worry, Be Happy. We're fans of her work. She does incredibly clean, precise, beautiful work. She works with a lot of porcelain. And this particular show called Don't Worry, Be Happy explores the social expectations placed on girls and how this pressure translates into womanhood.
And her work has been modifying and growing quite a bit also. She was a recent Art Pace resident in San Antonio. She also had a show, I believe it was over the summer, that I saw at Women in Their Work in Austin. She's really kind of been making her way around the state. I believe one of her pieces was acquired by the Museum of Fine Arts Houston recently. It was in a show there. We talked about her in our ceramics conversation that we did earlier this year, at the very beginning of this year. So she's been on our minds for a while, and it's nice to see a full-bodied show of her work. Number 2 this week is a show called Tommy Fitzpatrick Superflux. It is a show of paintings by Tommy Fitzpatrick at Holly Johnson Gallery in Dallas. The show opened in late November. It's going to be on view through the end of January, so you have plenty of time. Go see it over the holidays.
So what has he done differently?
So I walked into the show and I thought it was Tommy Fitzpatrick, but I wasn't sure. So if you've ever seen Tommy Fitzpatrick's work before, he has traditionally made these very hard edge, like tape acrylic paintings. A lot of really great ones kind of early on of buildings and architectural features, but then he started like building models in his studio and building colored plexiglass models, and color really was his specialty in a way. And these have that element, but they are thick.
They're paintings.
They're impastoed on some levels, only on some level. Holly, when I was talking to her, she was saying that he is now doing, instead of building physical models in his studio, he's building models using CAD, the software, so that this is almost kind of a rebuke to going back to something physical.
Interesting.
Which, whatever the reason, these are weird and funky, and I kind of like them.
And we like Tommy Fitzpatrick. Number 1 on our list is at the Museum of Fine Arts Houston. It is Norman Rockwell. It is called American Freedom. It just opened, I think, last weekend. You've already seen it.
Yes, so this exhibition, it was organized by the Norman Rockwell Museum. It has a bunch of his paintings, which many of which were just illustrations for like the Saturday Evening Post covers. So the exhibition is centered around his 4 freedom paintings, but it includes a whole bunch of other works too. I only feel like I had seen Norman Rockwell's paintings kind of in bits and pieces. I've never actually seen a big show of his, and seeing them together, they're striking.
Oh, yeah.
He's an amazing painter.
Yeah, he's kind of been up for reassessment lately. I feel like he was somewhat dismissed by sort of the larger art world for a while.
It was illustration.
It was illustration, but now he's being reassessed. I saw a solo show of his work in Tulsa about a year and a half or 2 years ago as they're visiting the artist residency there in Hyde, and we went to the museum, and there was a terrific show up of Norman Rockwell's work, and I was so glad to see it. But he's a hell of a draftsman, and I mean, he's got there's a lot of psychological and emotional presence in these paintings.
Can kind of see a little bit of the process and of the thinking going back then. And then also with each different stop, this show is stopping at so many different institutions and museums, but with each different stop, there's a different selection based on kind of the museum's permanent collection. So, of course, the Museum of Fine Arts Houston has an amazing photography collection, and that's kind of sprinkled throughout the exhibition also.
So that is up through March 22nd. Again, it just opened. You've got time to see it. I think that if you've got family members in town in Houston,
It's the perfect show.
It's the perfect show to take them to for the holidays.